I try to erase myself from the work, and I try to erase the idea of authorship. I cannot control the moss, I cannot control the watermelon, I cannot control earth, I cannot control weather. So we also stimulate this lack of control. So it's a lack of control when Juan or Alejandro take decisions, but also it's a lack of control because of the contingency of the type of materials we use. There's no one person or one entity controlling reality. So I do need that lack of control. Here, what we are trying to do with this show is basically undo the museum and present the museum and the institution in some sort of broken or collapsed state. So what you're seeing here, even though you may see artifacts that work as sculptures, they don't necessarily work as the main pieces or works to be displayed, but they are just actors in this installation environment, right? So basically this is the ground floor of the institution, and this is probably one of the very first encounters that the audience will have with the installation. Even though we are blocking the entrance, we wanted to connect the exterior and the interior of the museum, which I think was meant to be this porous building, right? Where we have this panoramic window, we have the entrance, which is all the glass doors. So I think that whenever it was built, the museum, 30 years ago, I think the intentions were to have a very connected relationship with the outside. My team is working on is detailing of these mounds of earth. This is locally sourced material, so rocks, soil, plants, sprouting potatoes, watermelon, moss. Everything you're seeing here, believe it or not, there's a quite precise 3D photographic rendering, like a video game. And that's how we understand the relationship of the materials we propose, and again, the context/building. What you are seeing here is the testing of this sort of sculpture, where you have this washing machine that's serving as some sort of white plinth. This is a work that was first exhibited at the Foundation Bayer in Basel. So this sculpture has these branches, and the branches are moving towards the ceiling. So we have the watermelons. That's something we are trying today. You can see some over there, and we are testing the lights. Perdón, chiqui, ya está. La gotita te la dejé ahí apoyada. So the name of the show is The Language of the Enemy. But inside this big overall project, we have this family of works that derive from the end of imagination. And what you're seeing here now is the installation of one of these pieces, perhaps the biggest one. So all these are sections of these two sculptures. So there's still more stuff happening here. This is not finished. So what you're seeing is basically a huge puzzle. So these ones, we call it jellyfish. It's not the real title. We will have them sprouting, protruding from this area. This show has this sort of tension between the artificial and the natural, the digital and the human. So all these two sculptures and the nests that are installed here, they come from a series of digital worlds that with my team we have created. And these digital worlds have life of their own. The idea of the time engine was how to, instead of model things in this world, with the logics of this world, I wanted to invert the system. I wanted to model a world, and the world will model things for me. So within these worlds, these things exist. I think it's a very hysterical relationship with my, let's say, the language I use to talk about what I do and how I make it, right? There's this tension between contingency and letting things go, and also a lot of control, tons. This tension is there, exists. I many times say that the reason I work with so many people, besides the fact that no one does nothing alone, right? We do nothing on our own, nothing. We don't exist on our own. With this layering of opinions, creates some sort of more complex reality. Okay, alrighty. So we are 1 week away from opening, and this is the entrance actually of the institution and the museum, the Art Sonje Center. You can see now it's been blocked by a big volume of soil and a replica of a NASA android. Since this is blocked, the way to access the exhibition is going to be through this staircase. And this staircase actually leads to the cinema. It's going to be closed, but we can try it. It is quite important to, maybe even you can notice, I mean, it's less noisy, temperature change, and it's darker. I wanted people to clear their minds before accessing the exhibition. And we installed that nest up there, so you see that mud ball. This is a bird nest, an Argentine bird. The name is Hornero, and we've been installing them all over the world. It's kind of a hidden signature of mine. So wherever we go, many times we leave these bird nests behind. Now we are inside the cinema space. This is not the lights that the show will have. The lights of the show will only be the exit signs. They emanate this very green light. We can go inside. This is more or less what people will see. Again, this is not the lights that we will have. There will be a projector, and we have that sort of nest. The plastic will remain on the seats. I guess we're this sort of fiction of, or intermediate state, right, of you enter the exhibition and you don't really see, quote unquote, art. I don't like art that presents itself as art to the audience. Here, perhaps you can get a grasp of the green. You have these multiplied exit signs that just are there for lighting purposes. Right? Supposedly, there's this anxiety to find art, and you don't find art. So you want to find something, and you find nothing. There's no labels, there's no guidance, there's no docents, nothing. It's just the silence of the institution and the intervention. This is a corridor that leads to bathrooms. These bathrooms will not work. Same happens in the upstairs. So here you have this liminal space between the art or the art installation, which has this UV grid, right? This is some sort of proxy for emptiness in digital space, right? You have this borderline between the exhibition and the institution. So in a way, you're exhibiting both, right? You're having an experience of some sort of intervention, installation, environmental installation, and then you have this threshold where you see the museum. I don't know how much we will be able to see upstairs. I don't mind going. I approach the lighting of this show in a very cinematic way. In the case of this space, which is the final stage of this exhibition, you will find this whole space empty, and there will be a fire, active fire, real fire, which I like this, again, this sort of complicated relationship between what you can touch, what you cannot, what you can access and what you cannot access. The corridor will have the same situation as we see downstairs. They have very strong colors. This one's gonna be blue. Downstairs is red. The entrance is green. And here, of course, it's gonna be very orange. Here, it's another very clear example between the very cold white light and the very reddish light from this corridor, right? So basically, service space as bathroom space. These corridors don't have any purpose for exhibition. They don't exhibit nothing, and now we're exhibiting these spaces. So when I say this, the museum is a sculpture, I think this is very strong statement, no? I mean, very clear statement of the intentions. What hopefully audiences will feel is this place is for no one. I just want things to work independently of the audience. Like the moss and the earth, soil here, the roots, the washing machine, they don't care about the audience. It's just something that's there, and if it happens to be encountered by people, great. What I want, because people know this building very well, is to find a building they cannot recognize. They used to visit, but somehow it works in a completely different way. So that's a huge expectation I have, and hopefully we achieve that.